I.S.U.P.K.
We crush pastors all the time. They don't know the Bible either. Your Christian pastor is an alligator shoe wearing pimp. That's what Christianity is. Christianity is a farce. If you consider yourself a Christian, you are in the most demonic religion ever on earth. You don't believe me? Everybody who commits crimes are Christians. What are the KKK? They're Christians. Who's the judge that gives you 40 years for a minor crime? He's a Christian. Right. The cops that shoot you down in the streets, they're a Christian. That gangbanger who just shot your son, what did he have around his neck? A Christian cross. Right. Christianity is vile and disgusting. That's what Christianity is. Christianity is the worst thing that's ever been done to black people. Were you Christians prior to being a slave? Can anybody answer that question? When did black people become Christians? You became a Christian when Massa whipped your back. That's the only reason you're a Christian. Right. You a Christian because Massa whipped your back. He whipped you so much that you didn't have no choice. You said, well, I'm a Christian. Let me tell you something. Christianity is not for black people. Right. And then some of y'all big-head Negroes think y'all smart. Y'all go get into Islam. Now you just worship it. Instead of worshiping the white God, you worshiping the Arab God. Now you worshiping the Arab God. You worshiping the Arab God like that's better. And then some of you real big-head Negroes, a lot of y'all get into Africa. Y'all say, oh, well, I'm African. Black people are not Africans. Black man, you were told that you were Africans by guess who? Your oppressor. Your oppressor told you was African. But they never share the whole story. They never share how black people migrated to Africa but aren't from Africa. We migrated to Africa fleeing persecution. Who persecuted us? The Roman Empire. That's who persecuted black people. That's why you went to Africa to begin with, but you're not African. And anybody who thinks that they're African in 2023, you don't have your eyes open. You ever been around an African? You ever met an African? Africans know their history. They know where they come from. Black people, you on the other hand, you just say, I'm African, African American. But where in Africa do you come from? You don't know. Over 50 countries in Africa. What part of African are you? And then you go and get a D. Oh, the worst thing. You can go get 23andMe. What's the other one called? Yeah, Ancestry. Then you go to Ancestry.com. And they tell you 5% this, and 10% that, and 30% this. You might as well be nothing. You might as well not even sort out an identity because that don't help you at all. I'm going to give you your identity today in the Bible. Now, you say, well, why are you going to a white man's book to tell black people their identity? That is a lie. Anybody who ever told you that the Bible is a white man's book lied to you. It's nothing but black people in the Bible. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's the only thing that's in the Bible. Let me rephrase that. Your oppressor is also in this Bible, but he's the villain. just like he's the villain today. Who's the villain in your neighborhood? The landlord who wants to put you out? Guess what he is? He's an oppressor. Who else is a villain? The cops that roll through your neighborhood and murder your kids? Those are the villains. Who else are the villains? Those that would withhold resources from you to make your life better here in America. Those are the villains. The one that you like to go buy weed from and smoke with and think that everybody gonna come together, those are the villains. And I blame your Christian leadership for teaching you that everybody's gonna come together. There'll never be a time where everybody will come together. Furthermore, the Lord don't want it. I call for a scripture yet. Let me get Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. I'm gonna help you out today, black people. I'm gonna give you your identity. You no longer have to walk around wondering where black people came from. After today, you're gonna know. Now, whether you choose to accept it or do any goddamn research on your own is up to you. But I'm gonna tell you, according to history and according to the Bible, that you're an Israelite. We got flyers over here. You come get a flyer, there's some information on the flyer, and you can call the number. A brother spend hours with you breaking it down. That's all we do. We eat, sleep, and dream about the Bible and how to raise black people up out of the dirt. That's all we do. But here's, you gotta understand what's required of you first. Let me read this scripture, then we're gonna get a little bit of history. This is what's required of you. Read.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. You wanna know what life is about? You wanna know what your purpose here on this planet? You wanna know why black people struggle and all this? You wanna know all that? Here's the conclusion of the whole matter. Read.
Fear God.
What you better do first and foremost is you better fear God. Let me get that right there. You need to fear God. And let me prove something to you. This ain't God right here. A lot of y'all think that this is God. This ain't even Jesus. This was a real man in history. His name is Cesare Borgia. He's the second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome.
That's right.
This guy, his image was painted all across Europe. That's why when you go to Europe, you see all the images of this that's supposed to be Jesus. This ain't Jesus. Jesus is described in the Bible as a man with bronze feet. So bronze that it looked like they burned in a furnace. You can find that in Revelations 1 and 13 through 15. You can get the description of Christ. He had woolly hair. He didn't have stringy dog hair. He didn't have white skin. He had brown skin, so brown that it looked like it burned in a furnace. Revelations 1 and 13. You can find that scripture yourself.
That's right.
But the whole duty of man, read it again from the top.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments.
You got to keep the Lord's commandments. Now, there's a contradiction. What does the Christian church say? The Christian church says you can't keep the commandments. It's impossible. The Old Testament is done away with. That is a lie. That's a lie that's taught to you by your oppressor. Why do I say that? Because your oppressor tells the Christian pastor what he's allowed to teach. And if he don't teach what the white man want him to teach, he don't get the funding.